I've made money on these platforms and I've wasted time on a few. Let's break them down. Hey everyone, it's Dre with the Reboot Era. Today we are going to finally discuss the topic I've been dangling the carrot about, freelancing and the gig economy. So, I'm going to hop into reviewing a bunch of different websites. I think there's 13 total that I have that I went through and did a little bit of research on some, but I've also used plenty of others. So before I get started, please go ahead and subscribe, share this with anybody who's interested in freelancing, watch to the end, and I'll give you the best tips and tricks for using my favorite site. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll hop into our first option. First up, we have CollabTree, and CollabTree is really geared toward experts who have PhDs. If you're an academic expert, you love doing research, this is for you. That's not me. I've never used this site, but I've heard about CollabTree from some of my network. It is free to join. There is a vetting process, however, and it's about 30 to 60 minutes for that vetting process. Once you get through, if you get through, it's very niche and it's really tough to qualify. So make sure you're doing your research on CollabTree and the type of projects that they're looking for. But this is really great for anybody who's in that kind of research heavy community, and that's your background. Up next, I want to talk about Hireable because I think that this is amazing that this is out here. Hireable is largely geared toward those who have any developmental disabilities, and that includes people with like intellectual disabilities as well. It's a job aggregator. They don't really have a direct platform. It's just listings on here. It takes 5 minutes to sign up. Anybody out there who has any type of disability, this can be really great for you. They make the job links that they provide you very easy to utilize. You don't have a profile. There's no internal messaging. It's essentially just see the listings and apply to them. But it's really great. Next up, we have Design Hill. This is largely for our design and creative community. And if you're worried, oh, this is all things that don't apply to me, just stick in here or fast forward a little bit until we get into the general freelancing. So Design Hill it's again, it's free. My whole thing is all about you shouldn't have to pay money while you're unemployed for anything. So job searching is included in that. Takes about 20 minutes to sign up for this platform, but again, it is only design work. And as you can see, some of the things that are popping up here, you do logos, you can do business cards, you can do t-shirt designs, and it's focused on visual brand designers. From there, we have CloudPeeps. CloudPeeps is pretty cool. This is largely, again, marketing and creative design. It's focused on remote marketing, writing, and strategy gigs. So it is small invite only, and it has limited entries without portfolio or referrals. So if you do have a portfolio on here, which is completely free, it will be a lot easier for people to discover you. It takes about 15 to 30 minutes, and they do have paid plans, which I don't recommend, but they're there as an option. Let's see what we have next. Workana. This one's really great. Let me accept all the cookies. This is really great for people who are in Latin America. That is where this, I think, originated. This is where this is originated, but it is growing to become more of a worldwide platform that you can utilize. If you are bilingual, specifically if you speak Spanish or Portuguese, this is a great site for you. Check this out. Obviously, I don't speak Spanish. I've clicked around on it before I knew exactly what it was. And it's great for both people who want to hire and who are looking for work. We're focusing on the working aspect. There's a rating system and skills tests that you can go through. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to sign up, completely free. And it does have a smaller client base. So again, if you do speak a second language, specifically Spanish or Portuguese, I would definitely recommend Workana. Design Crowd, another one for our design folks. This is design and creative heavy. It's a contest structure. So you essentially will see job postings as a contest. Go and design me a logo. Once you submit your logo, they go through and the person who posted will go through and like review which ones they like best. You'll only get paid in this case if you win the contest. And from what I understand, there's pretty low win rates because I think there's other platforms that are might be more well known that people are posting, one of which is 99 Designs. And this one is really great. I've actually posted my own design contests on here, and I've met some really great human beings out there that are amazing designers for some businesses that I've launched. 99 Design is absolutely free to join. It's great if you already have a portfolio of work that you've done. It's also great if you don't have a portfolio and you're trying to start out fresh. Again, contests are unpaid unless you win, but you can write to people and you can have a conversation and then it goes through a loop. So you can submit your original designs. They pick 5, 10, 20 winners to move to the next level. And then from there, they only pick 2 or 3. And then you hone in on the finalizing what you're looking for and you award the design. So it can be really fun. Guru. This one is a general freelancing, so you are going to find anything. This is not just designer marketing specific. This is literally for anyone. Now, I will say, important call out, it is a little bit dated on the interface side. The job quality that you'll see as well is a little bit on the lower end, but they do have a workroom feature for collaboration, and there's flexible payment options, not to find jobs. It's a free website that you can utilize. There are some paid plans, but it's flexible payment terms between you and whoever the client is that you're working with. It's really good invoicing tools if this is something that's new for you, understanding how to invoice if you're consulting or a freelance contractor out there. That can be really important. I would say give this attempt if you're trying to go through multiple different options for making money. This can be a really great one. So try this out. Freelancer, love Freelancer. This was actually the first site I ever discovered. I think I was 18 or 19 at the time. And this was the first like freelancing site that I ever came across. And it is free. They have done a lot of improvements with their UI and their website. Once you log in and you're behind the paywall or the sign up wall, I should say, because it is free, you can see a lot of really cool jobs out there. I think it's pretty tech heavy. So a lot of like designers, software developers, engineers, project managers. It's really cool for those types of people. I think you get credits, if I remember correctly. Posting a job, you post and then you just post and say how much you're going to pay. I believe to bid on jobs or reach out is free, but I think there are credits that you can purchase for how many that you can apply to. It's limited job volume and it's a smaller client base. And I believe it was started in the UK, but it is pretty global at this point. So definitely a great one to check out. I love Freelancer, but I would just err on the side of caution. If you're more in that tech environment, you're probably going to have a better chance on Freelancer. PeoplePerHour, this one's really interesting. I've personally never used PeoplePerHour. This one is something that's smaller than like an Upwork or a Fiverr, which we're about to jump into, but it has a solid niche group of clients from what I've clicked through and read and understood. It looks like they have vetted talent, which is something that's newer, and they have some AI-powered, human-driven projects that are out there to tailor to your needs. So give this one a chance. If you are abroad, I do know that like overseas from where I'm in, so I'm in the US, overseas in Europe, I think that this is more popular. That brings us to Toptal. I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly, but this is really great if you have experience. You're probably not watching this video, but if you have experience with freelancing or the gig economy, hop on Toptal. If you already have that portfolio of work, if you already know what you're doing and you're an expert in your niche group of experience, this is an amazing site for you, but I will say it does take a few hours because there's interviews and there's tests that you have to get through to really make sure that you are vetted, and that vetting process builds exclusivity and credibility. So it's a difficult process to get through. I would not start with Toptal. I would start with some other sites, build yourself up for probably at least a year minimum of doing projects before you're going to hop over here and try to like make an account and get started. Let's see what we have next. Fiverr. So Fiverr, I heard about Fiverr a few years ago. It was pretty interesting, but I think at the time that I saw it, I was living in Seattle and there was a lot of like odd jobs. It has definitely cleaned up a lot and they've rebranded even in just the last few years. There's big companies on here. You have Google, Meta, Netflix that are looking for people in their gig economy. You can make a profile here. It's a very popular for creative services and it's pretty easy to set up. Super free. And then they have low pricing expectations and high competition. So the one thing I'll call out with Fiverr is that I think of Fiverr like one of the dollar store. It's a lower rate that you're probably going to be charging your clients that you'd work with. And they have tiered seller levels and built-in analytics that you can review. But because this is gig economy, you have to wait for the clients to actually come to you. And it's very gig based. So just keep that in mind. And then lastly, we have Upwork, which we're going to spend a lot of the time or the rest of this video talking about Upwork. So shout out to the other 12 that we just reviewed. If you liked any of those, go look through them. If you have questions about them, leave a comment or message me on one of the other platforms, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, and I'm happy to do more of a video on one of those other ones and make a portfolio or make a profile and then share what I've learned from using it. This is my Upwork profile. I have not used Upwork in a minute, but as you can see, when I first got started on Upwork, I joined back in, I think, 2022, and I have made over $50,000. I've had 3 jobs and 750 hours. Now, what I will say about Upwork is, first and foremost, it is free to use with a caveat, and we'll get to that in a moment. It's free to use, and I do recommend checking it out as one of the platforms that you sign up for, but I wouldn't just sign up for Upwork. The caveat is that you only get a certain amount of connects. And so every time you find a job, you have to submit a little write-up to the job with a connect. And those connects, you go through them very quickly because sometimes it will be a minimum connect of 5 or a minimum connect of 50. And so it eats up your connect balance quickly. And I think you only get 10 free connects per month added to your balance. So you can buy more connects, but I'm not going to advertise that because, again, I think it should be free for you to find a job. That being said, Upwork callouts to be aware of with Upwork is it does take a flat rate. I believe after the 1st of May, they move to a flat rate fee that they remove. So if you're getting a job for $50 an hour, they're automatically going to take 10% of every dollar you earn. So just keep that in mind. And then there are different options. You can do things that are a one-time payment where you're saying, hey, I'll do this work. It will take me 8 hours. But whether it takes me 8 or it takes me 80, I'm only going to get a flat rate payment. They have other ones that are hourly wages. So you're going to go in here and say, hey, my rate is $90 an hour. So for every hour that I work, I will be billing you $90 an hour. 10% is going to come out of that to go to Upwork. And then lastly, they have larger contracts. So it could be hourly, it could be a flat rate, but you'll actually be on a contract for a certain amount of time. So 3 months, 6 months, a year, and it's more of a contract-based work that you're doing. So with my profile, once you go through and set it up, you do have to get vetted. And the vetting is just verifying your phone number, verifying your ID, and then you can even do expert vetting. But that is something that they will reach out to you to do if they like your skill sets. And they do expert vetting in specific areas. So it's not always going to be for people who are with a program management background. It might be for software developers. So check out what their expert vetting is when you're signing up. But I would say sign up in advance so that when they're doing expert vetting in the area that you have, you're ready to go and get vetted. Another call out that I want to just preface with about Upwork is that Upwork they're very specific with their terms and conditions. So if let's say you meet a client on Upwork and then you're like, hey, let's actually just take this offline because I don't want to pay the 10% to Upwork, you will get removed from the site. Like they will read your messages, they will ban you. So don't do that for 2 reasons. You don't want to get banned because obviously you want to make money. And 2, you want a third-party mediator whenever you can. So an example is I was working with a client, maybe I had a little bit of an issue with the payment. Upwork will actually get involved. And so Upwork typically charges them in advance. So they've already paid Upwork and then Upwork releases it to you. So it really helps you instead of having to deal with those awkward moments by yourself. I think that's all of the things I would want to preface with Upwork. So let's jump in. I'm going to review my profile. I'm going to review helpful tips about creating your profile, and then I'm going to review finding work and the connect process. So here's my profile. Hopefully you can see it. I'll zoom in a little bit. First and foremost, we have our name. You can just display this however you'd like, the place that you're working in your local time, and then you have these badges here. So you can learn about different types. Expert vetted is the top 1%, pre-screened by our talent manager and experts in their field. This will help you. Any badges that you have, I think there's 4 that you can have. You can have expert vetted, you can have rising talent, which I've had, but you get that when you are currently working on things. and you keep getting more projects handed to you, then you have top talent, and then you have, I think it's like ultimate top 1% or something crazy. That's like the highest that you can have. Employers will look at this when they're looking at people to hire. So it's a good thing to have some badges if you can get them. Then you have your call out. So experienced Fortune 500 program manager and my wage. All of this is set by me. I can do all of this and then my write up. So this is just giving people an idea of what I've done in an overview without my full portfolio. Consultation. So you can create what does a consultation look like. You can have different types of think of it like a resume, like different types of resumes that you're basically sending. So this is digital project management. I have management consulting, and there are different types of write-ups that I've based catered to those two areas. And then you have your portfolio. So personally, as in program management, I don't think there's typically a lot of things that I can share from a portfolio perspective. I could record YouTube videos of what I've done, how I utilize tools, and I could upload that as like a portfolio. But mainly, I just try to talk to it and answer the questions when I'm applying for something. And then you can have skills used. Once you get your completed jobs, the employer who's hired you or the client who's hired you can actually write a review about you. And so you want that review because when you get reviews, it's really helpful. And other clients will read that and be like, wow, this is great. This is exactly what I want. Now, you might be thinking you're going to get 10% taken out, plus you have to pay taxes at the end of the year. Two things. One, anytime you pay for connects, which is why I didn't remove Upwork from my review here. Anytime you pay for connects in the gig economy or freelancing, that is a write-off on your taxes. I'll do something later in a video if people are interested on how you can do your taxes, things that are write-off applicable. But anytime you're paying money on those connects, that is a write-off on your taxes. So that will reduce your tax liability. And then also with this, other things are great incentives. So being part of the freelance kind of community here, you can pay for ChatGPT if you're utilizing that heavily and pay for the premium service and then use that as write-offs. If you are paying for your internet and you're largely just paying for and doing jobs all the time, like you can write off a portion of that. If you're worried about that 10% piece that's coming out, once you do your first gig with someone, so I'm just going to look at what I've done. Let's say we take this one. This was an amazing human being to work with. I loved working with this client. They liked me so much and they were actually really generous. They were like, we want to give you a raise. After I finished the first contract, they wanted to give me a raise and they were like, we want to rehire you, but my Upwork contract had expired. And so what they did was they had my personal email and I had an LLC. And so they actually hired my LLC directly and I was able to remove that 10%. Now, we didn't negotiate any of that or talk about it. I let my contract expire. I finished the job, I lived my life for a few weeks, and then they reached out personally directly to my consulting email address. That can be a way to a loophole to utilize, but I will say do not try to move it off of Upwork once while you're in the contract. Let's hop over to jobs. Let's see if we can find some work. So it's very easy to find work. It's similar to like most job boards that you're posting on or seeing. It's like LinkedIn or Indeed, where you can actually see best matches. So based off of your profile, you can see your best matches that you come up here. There are a lot of things to see. And so let me see if I can find right here. Let's just look at these two. So number one, you have featured jobs. These are clients that are paying to post their jobs and research freelancers. Office manager, execution assistant to the CEO. You can read the job description. You can see locations that they're open to. I will say not everything is 100% remote. Some stuff on here is you can be remote, but you have to be located in LA. It gives you examples of what stuff they're looking for: executive support, administrative support, office management. So if you have those tags in your profile, you'll be linked and probably pop up in their search. Payment verified. This is super important. If they verified their payment, that's lovely. That means that they are more serious than others. And then $0 spent. I do like to see that they've spent some money because it means, again, that they're very serious and this isn't some type of scam. And you can see how much time they're looking for from a person. They're looking for more than 6 months and they want 30 plus hours a week, which is essentially full time. Standard operating procedure cleanup specialist. So this one is also important because you can see it's 1 to 3 months, hours to be determined. It's vague. I don't know I don't have no idea what company is posting about this, but I would not even waste my time applying to something like this because payments unverified, which means obviously they didn't verify their payment. Not to mention they spent no money. So to me, this is just red flags everywhere. And if we click in here, they probably have never hired a single person. There's 15 proposals. I don't know. That's just a waste of time for me. There are promotions. I'm not going to advertise this, but you can promote if you want to. It costs money to do that. I wouldn't recommend it. And then let's talk about connects. When you go, because I'm going to jump into like how you apply to a job in a second. So I just want to show you the connects piece. If you wanted to go over here and buy connects, you can buy connects. It shows you how many you have available, and then you can buy them and it shows you the prices that they're available for. So it can start to get pretty pricey, but I will say in the beginning, it is a low cost. Again, those can be written off at the end of the year, as can that 10% fee, which is why I also don't mind staying on Upwork because essentially I get that money back anyways. You can find promo codes out there sometimes from people on TikTok as well as I'm trying to think of what else. I think I've seen stuff on like some of these icons that I have over here that are Chrome extensions. So they allow you to find like any promo deals that are out there. But with this, let's go back to the job searching. So on the job search, this is personally how I like to do it. First, let's start with a role. Let's go program manager, search, and now it's going to look a lot different on this page than it just did. So now you're actually getting a search with filters that you can leverage and utilize, and you can see anything that's going to start tagging. So it's highlighting anything that says program manager. I personally like to do this. I like to check off that US only. I find that more employers in the US want a US employee. So it's a perfect match for myself. I don't play around with expert experience level because my big call out in life is I never know. Is entry level 1 year? Is it 3 years of experience? I don't like to narrow myself into a corner if I don't have to. The job type, I don't play around with hourly. I don't play around with the wages because I think in life everything's negotiable. Fixed prices, I personally don't like fixed price jobs because again, like sometimes that job can be it's advertised as 8 hours and you end up spending 20 on it and you're just like, man, I'm not my per hour wage is now decreasing. Number of proposals, it doesn't bother me. If you want to try to be like one of the first, you could start with like less than five, but I don't personally do that. Payment verified, super important. Love this because it means that they've paid before, or their payment is verified, sorry. Client history means that they've actually paid before. So if they've hired previously, that can be a really great indicator that they're legit because they've hired through. So I'm going to leave that off and then let's just see what they have. This one has less than five. Oh, I like this one. They have 5 stars. They have a rating and they need to project management system expert needed. I'm going to open this in a new tab. So first and foremost, when you're looking through this, I like to just really understand the summary. They're looking to hire 2 people. Keep that in mind. Now, sending a proposal costs you 17 connects. So that's, I would say, with inline, a little bit expensive. Usually 10 is, I think, the average of what you see, sometimes five. The about the client, they have almost a 5 star review. They've had 62 reviews. Looks like people really like to work with them. They're located in North Palm Beach and Cali. 136 jobs posted. They have a 52 hire rate. That's a little low. It means that they're probably they're posting on here, but they're finding people in other areas too to fill those roles. They've spent 13,000 on Upwork, but their average hourly rate. Now, this is across all the jobs they might have a bunch of jobs that are open for $100 for the gig, and it might cost eight hours to do the gig. That's going to bring down their hourly average rate versus if it was a company that's only looking for developers, that hourly rate might be higher. So I wouldn't focus too much on this piece. But they are finance and accounting. So it tells you a little bit like if you're not in finance or accounting, probably not for you. And then you can actually go through the client's history. So you can read about what other people said and the hours they charged at the hourly rate that they went for. So you can see a lot of these people were going for much lower. I do like to utilize this to gauge where I should probably come in at if I'm going to place a bid. And then the way that you place a bid is like this. Go ahead and apply now. It's not going to waste any of your connects yet. First, what you're going to do is you're going to have the option, if you set up different profile options like we talked about previously, you could do, oh, I'm a digital project management, and that's the profile I want to send. I usually just use my general profile because it's going to send them right to. If you spend the 17 connects, you're going to see right here that, hey, you'll have 127 connects remaining. So just a quick call out to your remaining balance. As of May 1st, it looks like the service fee, I do apologize. I mentioned 10% previously. It's actually going up to 15%. So that's going to cut how much you're making down 15%. Again, you will get that back in the future when you do your taxes, but it is important to note. If I did this, it's going to use my automatic hourly rate, but I can change this at any time. I could say, hey, I think I want to, let's see, they didn't paste. Sometimes they'll share how much they're looking for in a range and willing to pay. But in this case, after reading it, functional areas, finance, IT, HR, generalized organizational design. Let's just say I want to do $30 an hour. So I'm going to get 25.50 per hour is what is actually going to be my take home. You can schedule a rate increase. Let's say you're like, okay, if I stay here every 3 months, I'd like some type of 10% increase. And so it gives you 3 months, you'll be making this, 6 months, you'll be making this, 9 months, 12 months here. And this is after the fees. You'll receive this much. Writing a cover letter, I know everyone hates cover letters. You have to include them when it comes to this. Now, I personally like to just grab this, throw it into ChatGPT, but I'll make a separate section and I'll share how you can leverage prompts to go ahead and write really good cover letters. Do you have experience with project manager tracking systems like Monday.com? Just answer that question. Have you worked in a fast-paced environment before? Are you willing to push and pull? Describe your recent experiences with similar projects. Now, what I will say is if you go through and just write the bare minimum, yes. And do you work in, or have you worked in a fast-paced? Yes. Like you are most likely not going to get selected, right? You want to write, you have 5,000 characters per box that you can fill out here. Don't write 5,000 characters if you don't need to, but fill this out. Give them something to understand who they are hiring because they're going to click through each one and they're going to take a few minutes probably to look at who you are, what you're doing, and how you answered. Try not to have grammatical errors. So again, leverage AI if you can. And then what you can do is you can boost. So it looks like right now, if I sent it in for 17, I'm going to tie for second place. All boosting does is like puts yours at the top of their list when they're reviewing all the applicants. They're saying, oh, this one popped up because they paid more to be featured. I don't recommend doing that. If it's a job that you absolutely love, go ahead and boost it for an extra few. You do get those remaining boosted connects back. So bids with connections to be shown early on our client's list. Upwork will only charge your bid if you are among the top 4 bidders or if the client interacts with your proposal before the auction closes. So if they don't reach out to you or they don't click your profile before the auction closes, you don't lose any of those extra bids. If you are in the top 4, you will get charged for those. So if you bid 18 and you're in the top 4, you actually will lose 18. Otherwise, it just drops down to whatever the base was for the project, which is 17 connects. It's that easy. Then you hit send for 17 connects and it sends it. And then you can go on your way and look for other jobs. That is all I want to cover right now with Upwork. I hope that wasn't too much. If there are other questions that you have, as always, please comment, share, subscribe so I can do more of these videos. I really want to help people as much as I possibly can, as free as I possibly can. And I think I'm going to go work on creating some free templates for you guys to leverage when you're reaching out and working with the freelance gig economy. Stay tuned for more, and I hope everyone has a great Friday and the rest of their weekend.